Alright, so I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this video the day of, but I've decided to just post this and make this for Monday's video. So what I'm talking about, of course, is the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct that happened on Wednesday. The Nintendo Direct started off with them showing off the new Mario Kart game. So Mario Kart World is what it's called instead of 9. And it's exactly what you think. It's an open world Mario Kart game where you actually start a race on a certain racetrack, but then you have to drive to the next one. Now, of course, you have your standard Grand Prix, you have your knockout race, which is new to this game, and then of course you can just explore the map with free roam with your friends. This game does include 24 players during the race, which is new for the franchise. And there's over 50 characters, if I'm not mistaken, into this game as well. Overall, the game looks great, and I'm really looking forward to this game. And of course, every person that's buying the Switch 2 is going to buy this game regardless of the price, which is another controversial thing that I'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah, that was a pretty strong opening for the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. And of course, they also talked about the hardware itself, where it's targeting 4K on TV with 60 frames per second for certain games. Of course, not every game is going to run at 60 frames per second, but what's really surprising is that Metroid Prime 4 is going to utilize the 4K 60 for sure, but on top of that, in handheld mode, it's going to target 1080p but at 120 hertz per second. So that's going to be pretty insane because I've never experienced a game in 120 FPS before. So I will definitely try out Metroid Prime 4 in handheld mode. Even though I don't play my regular Switch in handheld mode because of my disability, my left hand gets cramped within like 30 minutes of gameplay. So that's why I play my Switch in dock mode. But other than that, it's pretty cool that they're trying to strive for 4K and 60 FPS. And of course, the Switch 2 is bigger than the Switch. Even the Joy-Cons attached to the system magnetically, which is really cool. And the Joy-Cons actually have a mouse feature like a computer. Some games are going to utilize that, which is really cool. And overall, the hardware is pretty cool. The C button, of course, is game chat, which unfortunately is tied to a Nintendo Online subscription. The game chat is basically Discord, but for the Nintendo. And honestly, just use Discord if you don't want to pay for the online. But most people will probably get online just for Mario Kart, but that option is there. But it does suck that it's tied to a subscription service. And the other thing that they announced is a camera that you can use with the game chat. And of course, what's really surprising to me, at least, is that this system comes with 256 gigabytes of internal storage, which the original Switch only had 32. But then again, most of the Switch games were on cart. There were certain games that were a voucher code. So for Switch 2, there's going to be games that are fully on cart, and there's also going to be games that are called game key cards, which is essentially just a key for you to download the game off of the Nintendo eShop. So you do get a physical cartridge, but none of the game is on there. You have to download it via the eShop, but you can resell these key cards at GameStop or on eBay or wherever you want to sell your games. So you're not entirely out of luck if you decide to get rid of your games, which is nice, but it would have been a lot nicer if they just are able to put all the game on the cartridge, but it is what it is. Another thing too that has to do with storage is the micro SD cards. So the micro SD cards that are usable on Nintendo Switch are not going to be able to be used on Nintendo Switch 2. What you need for Nintendo Switch 2 is a micro SD card express. Of course, it's priced at $450 just for the base model. If you want the bundle with Mario Kart, it's $500, and that is the cheapest way to get Mario Kart. as of right now. So be that as it may, I'm honestly not shocked on the price. I was expecting the price to be between $400 and $450, and I was right. So I'm not really upset about the console's price tag. I'm more upset about the software price. So let's get into that real quick. So Mario Kart is the biggest example here. That game cost $80 digitally and more than likely going to be $80 physically as well. I don't know why Nintendo decided to make the digital copy $80. Like, I get the physical given what's going on in the US with the tariffs and stuff, but digital makes zero sense to me. That should still be $70 or $60, but whatever. It is Mario Kart. People are gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it. Whether I'm able to get the bundle or not, I'm gonna buy the game. But still, it sucks. This is gonna set an example for other publishers to price their games at $80. That's why everybody's pissed. A lot of people are gonna be extremely picky on what games to pick up for this thing moving forward. But like I said, you're just gonna have to just buy the game if you really want the game. Now, if you don't want to support this, then don't buy the Switch 2, don't buy Mario Kart. Just stick with the Switch 1. But it's totally up to you. I am planning on getting the Switch 2 and the Mario Kart game. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be successful in getting one, but I'm going to try. They announced accessories for the system as well. You got your Pro controller, you got your carrying cases, your screen protectors, you know, your standard stuff. You got your Joy-Cons individually or together, a new dock, and a lot of these prices fluctuate, but they're around the price ranges that I expected, so I'm not really shocked on that. So moving on to the actual games that they announced with this direct, I'm not going to go over everything. I'm just going to go over the stuff that stood out to me personally. So starting off with the Nintendo Switch 2 editions of games. So we got games like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, even Mario Party Jamboree. All of these games are getting Switch 2 versions. You're getting either a upgrade pack that you can go with, where if you already have these games, just buy the upgrade pack and you get access to the Switch 2 version, or you can go ahead and buy these games again with the Switch 2 editions. Now, what's on the box kind of makes it sound like you get the Switch 1 cartridge plus the upgrade pack as a voucher code. I do want to say, if you have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, you will get access to these games upgrade pack for free. One of the biggest surprises, and honestly it shouldn't have been a surprise, is that Elden Ring is coming to Switch 2, and it looked pretty decent from the footage that they showed. I don't know if it's captured entirely on Switch 2, but it looked pretty decent. And the fact that this game is running on Switch 2 is pretty bizarre. Not bizarre, but it's pretty cool. Now, I was initially thinking about getting this game on Switch 2, but come to find out that it's going to be one of those games that's a game key card, so the game is not even on the actual cartridge. I'm mostly going to skip the key card games. There's one game that I am getting, which I'm going to talk about right now, and that is Bravely Default. And I don't know how I'm going to like the game, but it is a game that is going to be $40. So it's the cheapest game out of the launch lineup as of right now. And it is a game key card, but I'm willing to give the game a shot and just have another game to play at launch. And another game that they announced as well is going to be Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate. So that includes the DLC, and the entire game and the DLC is actually going to be on the cartridge, which is really cool. And that's what's kind of getting me towards buying this version. But I already do have the game on Xbox Series X, and it also includes all the DLC and everything on the discs. So I don't know, like, I want to just because of that, but then again I already have the game, so I'm kind of weighing my options here. Like, if I do get the Switch 2 version, I'm playing the Switch 2 version because I'm spending the full $70 and it is on the cartridge. So if I do get it, I'm gonna play it on Switch, and I'll still keep the Xbox copy because that's probably gonna look a lot better. But I don't know. I don't want to say for sure I'm getting it, but I'm kind of leaning towards yes. But we'll see. Of course, like I mentioned before, Metroid Prime 4 is coming to Switch 2 with a Switch 2 edition, as well as targeting 4K 60 FPS on TV and 1080p at 120 Hz on handheld mode, and as well as the game is going to be getting mouse support with the mouse features on Switch 2. I'm going to play with a Pro Controller. I don't care about the whole mouse gimmick. I just see it as a gimmick. But Metroid Prime 4, I'm planning on getting the Switch 2 version right out the gate if I manage to get a Switch 2. There's no point in me getting the Switch 1 version and then upgrading it with the upgrade pack if the Switch 2 is already going to be out. So that's another game I'm looking forward to. Of course, Hades 2 is coming to Switch 2. Haven't played the original. I still need to play it. And it's cool that it's coming to Switch 2, but I don't know if it's going to be the full game or if it's going to be the early access thing, because I know the game was in early access. I'm not sure if the game's out fully now, but I'm assuming by the time it comes out on Switch, the game's going to be completely done, so that's pretty cool. And if I have already played Hades 1, definitely will be checking out Hades 2, but we'll see. Borderlands 4 game. Not sure if I'm going to get Borderlands 4 on Switch or PlayStation 5 or Series X, depending on which one runs the best. But if it's a game key card, I'll probably definitely not get Borderlands 4. We're also getting the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 on Switch 2, which is pretty cool, with a SpongeBob level, it seems like, so that's pretty awesome. I don't know if that's exclusive to Switch or if that SpongeBob DLC is going to be included with the other versions of the game, so we'll see about that. But that is another game to look forward to, as well as Hogwarts Legacy is getting a Switch 2 version. Now, they didn't specify it's a Switch 2 edition or if it's going to be its own port on Switch 2. So in Switch 1, Hogwarts Legacy had actual loading screens between regions and stuff, but they said that Switch 2 is going to be more seamless like it is with the other consoles. So that's pretty cool. Not sure if I'm getting it. We also have the Drag X Drive game, which is the mouse game where you're on a wheelchair and you're playing basketball. That's pretty cool. I might check that out given how unique it is, and it is exclusive on Switch. But hopefully it's not a $50 to $70 game. I don't know how they're going to price this game, but it's something I'm keeping my eye out for. Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. Now, maybe I may get this game on launch, depending if it is physical or if it's getting a physical through LRG. If it is getting a physical through LRG, no thanks. Another game that I saw that is a mech game is Demon X Machina, the newest one. I don't know what the full title is, but looks pretty cool. It looks like Armored Core, and I may get this just because I do want to get games for my Switch, and this does look like a lot of fun. So be definitely keeping an eye on that one as well. They also announced that IO Interactive is also working on the next 007 game, and it is coming to Switch 2, but unfortunately we know nothing of the game, just that it's coming to the console. That's pretty cool. Another thing as well, Kirby's Air Riders is coming to Switch 2. It's a sequel to Kirby's Air Ride from GameCube. Never played the game, but it's pretty cool that we're getting a new Kirby Air Ride game after such a long time. So I will be checking that out as well whenever that gets revealed a lot more. And the last and final thing I want to talk about is the Dusk Blood game, the newest From Software title that is exclusive to Switch 2. Now, at first glance, I thought it was Bloodborne 2. It looks a lot like Elden Ring with the open world and stuff, but after the fact, they said that it's focused on the multiplayer a lot more in the online aspect. Not into that. So I'm not getting the Elden Ring Night Ring game just because of that. Unfortunately, I didn't get to try out the demo, but based off of the gameplay I saw, it's not for me. Sorry. Before I move on, I forgot about Donkey Kong Bonanza. Now, I've seen a couple people kind of write this game off, but I'm a huge Donkey Kong fan. It is my favorite Nintendo character. So getting a new 3D Donkey Kong game that is open world and seems like the whole environment is destructible is really, really cool. So that is all the games that I wanted to talk about for the Nintendo Switch 2 that they showed off that stood out to me. So I know people are upset about the $80 to $90 games, but if they're games I'm genuinely interested in wanting, I have no problem on buying them as long as I can afford them at the time. If not, I can trade in some games. I'm not alien to doing that. As you guys saw, I have a couple of videos on downsizing my games, and I will more than likely downsize my Switch collection, getting closer to the date for Switch 2 if I manage to get a pre-order in, so I don't have to pay out of pocket all the way through for the console and all the accessories I want to buy. Are you guys going to be getting the Switch 2? Or are you guys going to be waiting further down the line when it's cheaper and when the games become cheaper? But like I said, I'm planning on getting one if I can. If I don't manage to get one, that it is what it is. I'll get one eventually once Nintendo increases their supply. But yeah, that's all I have to say. And once again, what are your thoughts? Are you pissed as much as everyone else is? Because I am definitely upset about it, but I'm willing to pay for it. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.